of the Kings, 1140 The Fan. Talkin Money!
And we're back to Talkin Money with your host, Jeff Tarbell.
What?
I was just thinking about that Sammy Hagar.
Yeah.
Isn't his restaurant opening here soon over in Roseville somewhere?
It is. In Old Town Roseville? What about it?
Isn't that how you drove in this morning, little Sammy Hagar?
No, that was Guns N' Roses.
Oh, Guns N' Roses. Okay.
I didn't sleep at all last night, so I had to keep myself going there.
Even the caffeine wouldn't work.
No, I was beyond. I had to go to a little appetite for destruction there.
There you go.
So the pulp in the mines. We're talking about mines in the paper mills there. So that particular loblolly tree produces
fluff pulp.
Which is so. Why are the Chinese buying? What are they trying to do?
Apparently, they are increasing their hygiene, changing their hygiene to more soft, absorbent items.
What they used them before?
Yeah, we don't want to know.
Sandpaper and poison oak? What?
Well, I'm not quite sure,
Okay.
but apparently Franklin, Virginia, with these lolly pines, are making these products. Did we get a winner?
We got a winner.
Okay. So
we had a lot of cotton ball type, and that wasn't mentioned in the article though. But I'm guessing that might be one of the products, but
might be part of it. But this IP's Franklin mill is gearing up to begin producing this for diapers, tampons, and some medical bandages.
So the diapers
So this loblolly pine makes this fluff pulp that absorbs and.
But I think some of the Chinese companies are like the biggest diaper manufacturers in the world, so they're probably taking the loblolly tree back over there and sending us diapers back over here. So
take your $500,000 and start growing some
loblolly trees.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they don't grow in the West, but I'm gonna have to do $500,000 worth of loblolly trees. I'm just $499,000 short, but I'll get right on that as well. We got a couple lines open if you want to jump in, 339-1140, or you can text us at 441140. Mark Drobny is in here as well. So Mark, we've been dancing around this kind of year end, and guys at Facebooks are selling their stock, and they're doing it to get 15%. We're guesstimating. But what are you seeing as far as, so Mark does a lot of estate planning and family law, or not
family law, please, no.
I was thinking family planning, but so all of these issues with grandma passed away or trust planning but just planning as far as financial related goes. So what are you seeing as the concerns for as we come up here a few months away from 12/31?
Yeah, the so-called Bush tax cuts were passed in 2001, and by law, any cut in the tax code can only go for 10 years, and then it must sunset, and then you have to figure out what to do after that. So the Bush tax cuts were to expire at the end of December 31, 2010. Obama and Congress extended those for 2 years. So we do know that at the end of this year, capital gains taxes will go up, income tax rates will go up, and the exemption for estate taxes, which is currently $5,120,000, will go to $1 million. And there's just no way that's going to change before the election. You're not going to get any bipartisan plan to extend those cuts. There's too much politicking going on. So it is an absolute certainty that will happen. So a lot of our clients are understandably concerned, our high net worth clients, is that if I can give away $5,120,000 this year.
Then let me give you my name. It's Jeff, capital Jeff. I'll be all right off for or deduction for you. Can adopt me. My parents don't even want me anymore. I'll be happy to. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And next year it's only $1 million. Do I need to use that $5 million exemption before it goes away?
Uh-huh.
For our very high net worth clients, I think absolutely they do need to take a look at that. But the Chicken Little part of that is that yes, the exemption is going to go back to $1 million. Capital gains taxes are going to go up. And brackets are going to go up. But when we find out who's controlling the House, who's controlling the Senate, and who's going to be sitting in the White House and get sworn in on January 20th of next year, in the first 100 days of any new Congress, we do get meaningful tax legislation that's always retroactive to January 1. So for our estate planning clients, I'm saying it is going to go to $1 million. And they're like, but what if grandma dies in January of next year?
100 days, yeah.
Shouldn't she have given everything away in December? And it's like, no, because even if she dies in January or February or March, the legislation that passes will be retroactive to January 1. And they're not going to go back to $1 million for the estate tax exemption. They may not keep it at $5 million, but it's not going to go back to $1 million and stay there. it's going to be at least 2.5 to 3.5 million, and more likely it'll stay at 5. The government got last year they got 85% of the money that they used to get, and last year only 1,600 American families filed estate tax returns, and they're still getting 86% of the money at the 5 million exemption that they were getting when it was at 2 or 3 million. And so it would make no sense to drop the estate tax exemption to 2 million and make more and more families buy life insurance and do family limited partnerships and do all that. No sense doing that when you can have 1,600 families pay 86% of the money we used to get.
Yeah. All I know is if I'm worth somewhere between 2 and 5 million and I'm not feeling good on the 31st, I would probably hide.
Yeah, push Dad off the bridge.
Yeah, because it died, killed, pushed, run over. I don't, things could happen.
There was a family in Texas that back when in 2000, and if you died in 2010, the exemption was infinity. There was no George Steinbrenner died in 2010. His family got the Yankees and Yankee Stadium for no estate tax.
Wow. And
there was a family in Texas in 2009. Dad was very sick and dying, and they said put him on life support until 2010. And then they took him off life support in the first week of 2010.
Wow.
Because if he would have died in 29, the exemption was $3.5 million.
So it cost
and if he died in 2010, there was no estate tax, and Dad's estate was worth $8 billion.
Is that part of estate planning?
It was. We had some people
plug him in for 2 months.
I'd even pedal the bike just to keep in case the power went out, just to keep him going.
I'm sure even if insurance wasn't paying for his long-term care or his life support, the family did.
Yeah, I would be with you there too. So, okay, so so short of one of us who just sold our $500,000 Facebook stock for $1 billion, probably don't have to lose a lot of sleep, because you do see a lot of bickering going on, because they're trying to resolve the Bush tax cuts, but one party wants to resolve it for
everybody, and somebody says for 99%.
Yeah, for the other. So you're right. They're going to go back and forth, and neither one of them wants to sign a deal because they don't want to make. I don't want to make you look good. You don't want to make me look good, or you sign it, I'll make you look bad for signing that. They're just gonna put it off like everything else until the January. So, but there
will be meaningful tax legislation in the early part of next year, and most of those Bush tax cuts, for at least 99% of Americans, will probably stay the same. The question is whether it will apply to everyone or just 99%.
Yep. Okay. I did see this, so this was good news. So if you remember the AIG bailout during all the
TARP, or what was it? TARP.
Yeah, TARP. It was. Yeah, TARP, HARP, HAMP. It's hard keeping all the acronyms directed in the same way. But so if you recall, back in September 2008, AIG is rescued with a loan from the Federal Reserve for $182.3 billion. That was a total commitment to AIG. That's
their biggest chunk of TARP money.
That is a large sum of money. Well, this week they sold out. They finally got rid of the last balance of all of this. Kind of has finally shaken out, and your federal government, the regional federal bank, actually out of New York, made $6.6 billion on its last settlement of. This was just various shares and different things they were various holdings. So, and that portion, that was a $24 billion portion of that pie. They made a 25% return on their money on the TARP thing, and they've actually done very, very well.
All the banks paid their money back,
right, with interest.
And how about General Motors? General Motors would be bankrupt and shut down right now. But if that TARP money bailed out GM, and right now they had a record year.
Yeah, and the company that they didn't bail out, Ford, is having
a record year.
Yeah, but they're not quite making as much money. They're having a little more trouble, and they hung in there too. So, but if you go back and you say the government should keep its fingers out of everything, then this would be contrary to that, because we bailed out some companies that we're never going to get our money back from, but others that we did very, very well on, and the AIG would probably be the global example of that. So $6 billion this week.
The Treasury made a lot of money on the General Motors stock they took back too.
The Treasury is making a lot of money right now on home mortgages as well.
Yes. Because they're doing good right now.
Yeah, so and that's the hardest part of being the federal government, is that we've got our fingers so much into the mortgage business right now, because we have created an artificial demand for bonds, right? So our own government is buying up our own bonds, buying, which keeps the rates down because there's more supply for them. At some point in time, so we have this huge balance sheet of mortgage-backed securities and bonds that the federal government's holding, and they're getting interest payments on them, right? Because they own the underlying security, so they're getting payments and they're making a net positive cash flow. So right now it all looks good, but at some point in time you have to say, as rates start to climb up, if you're holding an instrument that's paying 2.5% and the rest of the world is offering 3.5%, your instrument got less valuable. So you have that risk of being around too long, and then if you announce that I'm going to stop doing it, which has happened last week a little bit. This is what some of the gyrations in the market were this week. Is the Fed said, hey, you know what? We may start backing off on some of this quantitative easing. We may start backing off on buying so many bonds. We may start backing off. We're not sure we really need to do some of these things. Boy, the market tanked out.
Yeah, it did real quick.
Bonds got hurt, and so did the stock market. They both got hurt in the same week. And now this week they've been crisscrossing all week. This has been a really strange week. Last week we saw the first increase in rates in like 16 weeks.
How much?
Last week it was up about a quarter.
Wow.
Yeah, which is a lot for and now toward the end of the week we saw them trickle back down again too, because the government said, oh, maybe we'll still do. So it's a very difficult position to be in, and I am always first to criticize these guys. I wouldn't make them homeowner association managers, and yet they're running the government, some of them. But it is not an easy job, because it's almost like you have to kind of secretly start milking your way out of the business without telling anybody, because the minute the world knows that the Fed is not doing this anymore, everybody starts to flip out a little bit. But they have got to get their money back out of those bonds. Quit buying them. Let them start. They have got to start to increase a little bit. So for those of you that think that we're going to be seeing 3%, 4% mortgages forever and rates forever, you're kidding yourself. It's an artificial time we're in right now. They're being pulled down by a number of factors, one of which is that our government is buying and buying and buying. They're going to have to stop, and then they're going to have to unload some of them, which means they're going to become a seller.
And rates will go up.
And rates will go up because you have to compete for money. And if everybody wants a 4% return, you're going to have to raise your rates up a little bit too. So it's going to be an interesting time. It won't happen between now and the first 100 days of next year.
Right.
But it's going to happen, and I don't know. It doesn't matter who gets voted in. It's going to happen. So you're going to see some changes. But in the meantime, take advantage of rates while they're good. If you can find a house, get one. And you will look back in this time frame 5 or 6 years from now and go, man, I was a genius. I bought at the bottom of the market, theoretically, and I bought at the bottom of the rates. Whatever the bottom means, but it was low.
Is that going to be your claim to fame, Jeff?
No. I am a moron. Because whenever I buy, I don't know. It doesn't matter.
But he's got a bridge for sale.
But I got a bridge to nowhere, and if you want to buy it, actually it might be gone by now. It's 11 o'clock. She's been there for 5 hours.
It depends if she brought a cordless or a screwdriver.
Yeah, she brought 2 hammers or one, or she just died in the field out there, and there's no work done. That little music in the background means we got to wrap it up. Mark Drobny, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, appreciate it. Good to see you again, Johnny. Thanks for coming back. We'll get out our Mountain Lions tickets. Thank you to the Sacramento Mountain Lions, and thank you to Tacoma. You can find me at jefftarbell.com during the week. Aloha, everybody. Be cool.
Talkin' Money.